Most of you, almost all of you, cut. Almost all of you should have been exposed to graphing lines in your first algebra course. And it turns out the things in this first section about graphing probably are going to look pretty familiar to you. But I want to take this little topic to talk about the history of the XY plane, the Cartesian plane, as we also call it, and as well as to reintroduce plotting points on a graph, which if you are really rusty at this, you could use that as well. So I want to give you a deeper perspective of what's going on with graphing, because it looks so sterile when you see it in a textbook. And there's really a lot to this. So anyway, a little quick history here. Arithmetic and geometry are the two branches of mathematics that go back to ancient times. And quite naturally, because arithmetic is concerned with, at least initially, it was concerned with counting things. And geometry is concerned with shapes. Well, there's almost no connection between those two for quite some time. And then in around 825 AD is when algebra is generally conceded to have gotten off the ground. So algebra, which is of course what you're studying in this course, dates to approximately 825 AD. It flourished in the Persian world. Persia was the Middle East part, you know, think Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, those trouble spots. Persia was the flower of civilization not too long after Muhammad. They wanted to recreate the splendor of ancient Greece, and so they dedicated themselves to a lot to learning and building universities and things like that. And so actually around this time the Persians were the most advanced people in terms of math and science in the world and learning. In any event, a book was written with a title. The title was one of these long Arabic titles, but one of the words in it was algebra, and algebra means to balance, I believe, in that language. So obviously this is where the word algebra comes from. Okay, well, here's why learning graphing is important to algebra, in case you wondered. The algebra, if we can link these two together, then algebra will shed some light on geometry, and geometry will shed some light on algebra. And if you watched one of my earliest videos in this series, in the first chapter, saw that solving an equation was equivalent to, at least those equations, was equivalent to seeing where two lines crossed. So there was a geometry behind that. Well, these areas were not blended until around the early 1600s. It may be 1642. A Frenchman, René Descartes, is the one who generally gets credit for this. And Descartes was also a famous philosopher. He's the guy who came up with that saying, cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am. He was resolving a philosophical debate about whether we exist independently from God or if we're just a figment of God's imagination. And but anyway, Descartes made an enormous contribution to mathematics, particularly in this area. And let me show you how he did that. So let me erase this board here. Descartes was